I'm just going to finish up by talking a little bit about some of what we see as success factors in our family, through our work and our family business. So we really see the importance of tradition. What has made our family business successful? So that focus on the core business, but at the same time, the importance of innovation, staying cutting edge, looking at where do we need to be next. Really being able to and willing to look at how do we have those difficult conversations that we might want to avoid because we just don't want the conflict. How do we really open up channels of communication where there have been barriers and really look at increasing trust and minimizing conflict when there can be so many differences of opinion around the table when we are looking at a transition. And the ability to really embrace and manage change. A lot of times, and this was said earlier today, a lot of times that older generation is saying, we have a tried and true way of doing things. I don't want to mess with it. And the younger generation is coming in and saying, but I've gone to school, technology is good, and there's this whole push and pull. So how do we make sure that change can happen when it is necessary and when it is appropriate? And we do a lot with managing change. Sometimes we'll work with not only business owners and business leaders, but we've worked with hundreds of machine operators on the front lines, for example, in manufacturing settings, in terms of their attitudes and behaviors, in terms of their deliverables to their customers needing to change. An alignment of vision and values. It's not only what is the destination to our journey, but if I have one destination and you have a different one, and we are on this journey together as co-owners and co-leaders, it is going to be a very bumpy ride. So for us to come together and be able to have that alignment is extremely important. So we do a lot to look at how do people really come together around their vision of the future and their values. This has been talked about. The next one, the clear expectations for the younger generation, such as being employed somewhere else outside of the family business before they come to work at the family business. Leadership development, there is a ton in that whole area. Even in terms of what model of leadership should that family business have in the next generation. In the first generation, it is oftentimes an entrepreneurial, top-down model. The owner calls all the shots, and everyone is used to that. In the next generation, that is just not going to work because the business has grown a lot, and we need more of a team-based model. So how do we get that to happen? And the training and education for that younger generation. Systems of governance in the business, having a board of directors or a board of advisors, in the family, family councils, family assemblies. What are the best structures that are going to help that family business into the future? Organizational structure, I already talked about leadership model. Culture, I could spend an entire day talking about culture because there's a lot that can help. And that succession plan being a part of that overall strategic plan. And finally, really committing to working as a team to achieve goals, to set expectations of one another, and to hold each other accountable. That does not happen as readily in family businesses because we are trying to maintain family harmony a lot of the time. Finding a role for the older generation in retirement. This shows up in literature, in research, as being a very important thing, but we see this in our work day in and day out. When that older generation owner has a meaningful role, and I'm not talking in the day-to-day operations because that can be awfully confusing and give mixed messages. I'm talking about at a board level or in some capacity. That can go a long way towards them being able to let go of the power and control. And the final bullet I have here is that team of professional advisors to help guide any family business through a difficult succession process. Because, as several people mentioned, there are financial advisors, there are legal advisors, there are many other people that can be a part of that mix. Our role is more in the management consulting, in the management and behavioral science areas. So the management consultants, business psychologists, there may be different people around the table that need to be pulled in at different times to help through a process of transition. I have, I want to thank you all. You have been a very attentive audience. I had a lot of information to cover, so initially I had thought about a process that you guys could interact, but didn't have time for all of that. But I don't know if I have any time for questions. Otherwise, I will be around, and Greg and Anjali are here as well.
I think we could do a quick 1 or 2 questions. Otherwise,
Okay,
yes,
if anyone has 1 or
over.
2 quick questions.
All right, then.